What up, dudes, and welcome back to a special episode of the YoVideogames podcast. I'm Matt,
And I'm Andrew.
and we're gonna do a movie review here because we used to, used to do a lot more movie reviews and on this channel, and we kind of stopped just because we kind of stopped liking most of the movies we were going to see, and it was just kind of like I
We're
don't want
haters
to.
now.
We didn't want it to be like a weird negative, or worse is like one of us would like it and the rest were kind of mad about it or whatever. So yeah, just we stopped going to movies. We just stopped going to a lot of the movies.
Well,
You
the
know what
pandemic
killed it?
didn't help.
Pandemic didn't help, but what really killed it for us pretty hard was Thor: Love and Thunder. That was like one of that
That
movie
was
just kind of
rough.
like ended the whole hey, let's do movie reviews or whatever. So we haven't had a movie where a lot of us go see a movie all together and talk about it afterwards. But we did go see a movie. We ended up like most of us actually saw it. Max and Kenny saw it with us, but they're not here. So
They're dead now.
no, it's a busy holiday weekend. But like for some reason, a theater was playing The Boy and the Heron early. What's Boy and the Heron? It's the latest Miyazaki film that came out in July in Japan with absolutely zero advertising. Bold move.
Did
Uh,
it turn out to be his 13th or is it his 12th?
that's his 12th.
Okay, yeah, because we talked about that after the movie was over. And for those of you that are going to go see it, you'll know why that gets talked about.
Yeah.
But
So here's the thing about The Boy and the Heron. And I'm just saying this right now. Great film. Loved it. Because this movie, they did put out a trailer for the movie, and people can see that. But there are people, if you're like me and was just kind of like, I want to go have the Japanese experience where no one had any idea what they're getting into. Just know that it's very good.
yeah, it's good.
You can
Uh,
just, and then that you could just leave it at that and just go see it. Do I recommend you go see it? Yes,
yeah,
because the official release is December 8th. So for some reason, one theater, and because maybe just because we're in SoCal, decided we're going to have early screening of it.
I don't know why we got so lucky, but I'm really glad we did. And it was at one of the best theaters just
Right.
in and around LA. Um, and we're probably not going to do any spoilers on it at all, at least not
Well,
too many.
anything we can really talk about, you can't talk about this movie technically. I feel like there's nothing to talk about that's not a spoiler if you're going for the authentic Japanese experience.
Yeah, so we're
Um,
3 minutes in, and all we can really tell you is it's good. Go,
it's
go.
good to say.
It is obviously it's Miyazaki, so it's beautifully drawn. The music is really beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, I will say again, totally anti spoiler. It's not my favorite of his films. It is not a bad movie at all. I just of all of his films, I think it's his
And
pacing is I don't like this pacing very much. This one.
you know what? I was sitting on this all last night, tossing and turning because I saw the movie twice yesterday.
Yeah.
Subbed and then dubbed. And there's part of me that's like the pacing is not good, but you know what? I almost love the film because this is a film where Miyazaki did not give a flying fuck about the three act structure
Well, I
at,
okay.
at all. And there's almost a
I
beauty in a guy just doing what he wants, like just this type of auteur visionary filmmaker just making because this movie is the longest in production film they've ever had. It took 7 years to make,
yeah.
2 years of pre-production, 5 years of production. It was the slowest moving animated film. They just went at their own pace. The film was funded by them selling the streaming rights of their back catalog. That's how they got this movie funded. And they spent $0 advertising it. So it's just the movie he wanted to make, and he had basically no restrictions. There was no one telling him what to do. No one telling him you have to have this in it. You got to do this. We got to sell this. Just guy making just the thing in his head and taking forever to do it.
Yeah, and I
And there's a
mean,
beauty in that, but it is not a structured.
look, I'm
It's
one to
not
talk.
structured at all.
Like those self-indulgent long shot, like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly has the long donkey riding in shot, and most people hate that, and I actually kind of like it. It's my biggest problem is the first half of the film is excruciatingly slow in many aspects. And then the second half of the film, because they were so slow about the first half, the second half feels like they're just racing and stuffing through. And you get into the whimsy into the second half,
Mhm.
and the whimsy is the part that I like the most about Miyazaki films. But obviously, Miyazaki loves the monotony. He loves the mundane.
Right, and
Um,
he said you can make the mundane interesting, there's some quote about, like, the mundane can become interesting if you do it right or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. I just
Now this is definitely an animator's film too,
it is. Yeah,
because
there's
they're doing things that a normal person will be like, "Get to the fucking point," and for him, it's like, "No, look at this
this
shit."
is the point. Yeah,
Look at
yeah,
this shit. Look how like intricately we you point because you saw it with there's a scene early in the film where the kid gets spooked. He pulls out a pocket knife and they have this whole thing where he shows it and pulls it out and like
yeah.
readies it. And it's a very meticulously detailed version of a
Old
pre
pocket knife. Yeah.
pre-war or wartime era pocket knife of Japan from that time era.
For any
Eh,
knife enthusiasts out there, it's one of those like it's got like a lock back. So you don't have a lock on the blade. It's you holding the blade is the lock. And the Japanese style, it's like a thumb. It's a thumb width of blade that you're
mhm,
holding to keep it in the open position. They're cool. They're cool knives, but clearly he like really wanted to put time into it because you spend a lot of time looking at that knife. And it is gorgeous. The animation of it is very cool. Like
mhm,
it is really good. And if the whole movie was that mundane, like
mhm,
I don't want to talk about the themes because it does work with the themes of the movie. It's just that it's juxtaposed with a second half that moves so fast. Like
I
you're
think it
just going
only mo
levels into levels.
I think it only moves fast because it's such a stark contrast to the first half. I don't even know if it does move fast or that it just feels like it is.
No, it definitely picks up pace because every time you go a level deeper, this is not to give you any spoilers, but every time you go a level deeper, um, e- it gets faster into how much you have to just accept.
You almost have to wonder if that was, like, part of
Maybe.
just the idea of it, where it's just kinda like I'm as as the world gets crazier, like, the pace gets quicker kinda thing.
And that's entirely possible. The thing is like, I think there's going to be a lot of people that this is their absolute favorite Miyazaki film. I mean, the way he animated flames,
Mm.
again, that's a big part of this movie. You're going to go watch it and wonder
You know
why
what
I'm
else
saying
is a
that.
big
But
you know what other is a big part is water
yeah, water's huge. Yeah.
and
Yep.
drinking.
He really yeah, there's like,
There's
again, the
there's
first
2
half,
whole scenes of just showing a character drinking water. Like,
and it's
not like gratuitously or whatever, it's just kinda like, "Okay,
yeah,
this
yeah,
character's drinking water."
it's not,
Okay.
like, done weird, although the vessel that he drinks water from, that, like, little pot, is
Yeah.
very cool looking. Um,
Yeah,
it
that thing.
and I don't wanna, like, paint this picture like the things he's doing is very strange, but animation is one of the few art forms for, like, filmmaking, or it's I guess I should say it's one of the few genres of filmmaking where you can't deny that everything is intentional.
Yeah.
Like in a lot of films, you can argue back and forth whether or not something's intentional or you're just reading too much into it. But
Well,
animation,
this is kind of a film where I almost feel like, how could it not be? Like, there's some animated films where they're just like filling in the background, like whatever, like
right?
just blah, 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 like sponge paint on some trees, like trees back there, whatever, who cares? This one, it's kind of like, oh no, every rock is gonna have an importance, you
Yeah.
know. Like
Um,
there's no like wasted shot in the film, like at all either. So
yeah. I mean, and again, in hand drawn animation, it's sort of hard to have a wasted shot because again,
you have to be
time is
so much
money.
there's so
Just
much meticulousness, and like this
yeah.
was a film where again they just did not care about how long it was going to take, or the cost, and they just went and made it.
I also bet you there's no real screenplay. I bet you he did that thing where he's always only a scene ahead.
Well, there's a weird thing because there's a documentary and it's on HBO Max, where Kingdom of Dreams and Madness or Never Ending Man, I think, is the one. And at the end of the documentary, he turns in an outline to the producer and says, "I want to make another movie,"
Yeah.
and that's where the documentary ends, and it's this movie. So he had an outline or something.
Yeah, and I don't wanna, like,
Maybe it was just storyboards. It could have just been just a couple of like a bunch of storyboarded scenes.
I also don't wanna paint this picture like the I very much enjoyed this movie, so I don't wanna,
This
like.
is a film because here's the thing, like, there's if anyone's still kind of in the sort of animation, kind of like just time waster, or I go here to get a laugh or whatever. This is like nothing that gets produced in this country. Period. It's almost like nothing that gets produced in Japan either. If I'm being quite honest with yourself, when you look at like other anime films, um, sadly, since after the passing of Satoshi Kon, maybe some of like I'm forgetting the name of the person, Your Voice or whatever, maybe closer to that, but even those have way more structure. This feels very much like this is a filmmaker who's from a different era making a different kind of film.
And also so much of this movie is vibes. Like, he very much is giving you an emotional vibe more than, like, a story beat. Like, he's not
Yeah,
giving you a beat, he's giving you, like,
like it's like,
yeah,
okay, this is happening, but okay, here's what's happening. Now we're gonna vibe at it. We're gonna vibe that out
yeah.
for a
I'm
while.
If you really like Miyazaki, especially for his artwork and, like, the topics he likes to delve into, you're gonna love this movie. If you're going into it because you really loved Mononoke, back in the day, like, this isn't that. Like, this isn't the I would argue this isn't even the same.
But on the same token, if you like Mononoke for the animation, for
The
the
animation
scene,
is excellent, yeah.
for the scenery in particular, yeah, like I would argue that like it's very much good for people who liked Mononoke for just
The art.
the art because the art's on that level. Because like there's some films like Ponyo where it's like very intentionally not as hyper detailed or it's going for a more
Yeah.
watercolor aesthetic. This is going for closer, way closer to something like Mononoke or Spirited Away, as far as just visual design goes.
I will also say that something that this drives home, because I like this in every single one of Miyazaki's movies, but this one especially drives it home, is I really love the way Miyazaki draws old people.
Oh yeah.
Like, the character that he gives to old, like, his younger characters almost don't have much remarkable character to them.
And I, after speaking to the man personally, and this was sort of the question I related to the question I asked him. I feel like with him, he draws old people because old people have experience and have learned things and have like
Yeah.
for good or for bad. And young people are kind of a blank, like more of a blank slate, right? Where like it almost feels like, and I'm drawing an old person, I'm going to draw their story in their character design. Like they've
Yeah.
been through some stuff, they've seen some shit or whatever, right? It's like it's more. It always feels like this is a character who has lived
He
versus like the young
yeah.
protagonist who's just getting their life going or just experiencing something for the first time.
He also does this thing with old characters that, like, in the beginning of the movie, they're intimidating, weird, strange, sometimes the villain. And then by the end of the movie, you see them as much more 3D, as kindly, as wizened as, like they shift.
It's
There's
funny how that happens in almost all his
every single one of
movies.
his movies. Yeah. It's actually one of my favorite things about his movies. And, again, we don't want to go into any spoilers. So I'm just going to wrap my end up by saying, like, if you like animated film, especially hand drawn animated film, you need to see this. You need to go see it, preferably in a theater, but that's just because I love the theater experience.
Mhm.
Um,
I will go. I Because this is going to get an IMAX release. I will
yeah.
absolutely watch this on IMAX again a third time,
Yeah, I'm debating
just
if I'll see this one again just because it's
just
not.
just to see that. this world, like some of the shots in general,
Yeah.
on IMAX because it was on IMAX in Japan as well.
Um, we don't really have a scoring system, and I don't really care about scoring. So, not my favorite Miyazaki film, but still very good. It's
I
good.
saw it and I was like, it's about middle, middle for me of his filmography. And then I thought about it. I saw it again the same day, and I thought about it, and it stuck with me. I was thinking about it, and I kept thinking about the movie. And you know what? I like this. This is like third or fourth favorite film of his now in my
Okay.
mind. It just moved up throughout the day because I saw it in the morning, and then by like middle of the night last night, I just kept just there's so many things I really like about this movie, and I like the messaging too, because this film has more of a message, more than just nature good, tech bad.
Yeah.
Like, it actually has like I think it has a really pretty strong kind of like message and morality to it, and even if it isn't all just about I got the answer to life right here or whatever, I'm just like this movie's genius to
Oh,
me, like in a way
yeah.
that other animated films kind of aren't. And it's just kind of like I love this. I love just I think I'm also really prone to like people taking wild swings.
Yeah,
Um
I dig it
and
when people do that.
even
Yeah.
even even if they're misses, but like a wild swing to me is an interesting failure is way more intriguing than a competent flop.
I think interesting failures are the things that become cult classics or the things that become
Yeah.
childhood favorites, that
And
kind of
and
things.
and I wouldn't even say this is a failure by any means.
No.
I would just say like this is going to be a movie that's probably some people are just going to be like it's
This is gonna be divisive because the plot is almost it's not non-existent, but it is the plotting, like, there is plot, but, like, the plot points are
this
non-existent.
movie
It
this move
flows.
this movie is like a dream. And
Yes.
it's and
Yes, it's like one big fever dream.
it starts with you trying to fall asleep. That is the first chunk of the movie is you laying in bed trying to psych yourself to go to sleep, and then
Right.
it does, and then the dream gets weirder and weirder and weirder. Um,
Right, which is why there's the speculation that it's all one big dream, but it's not. It is not all one big dream,
mm,
but we definitely had that debate last night after we all got out.
yeah, so I'm like, this movie's dreamlike. It plays like a dream.
Yeah.
It moves and plods like a dream, and then rushes to an ending like a dream.
And the logic is dreamlike.
Yes.
'Cause there is a logic to it, but it is very dreamlike. I don't go see it. Go go see it, be in this
This
with us.
I mean, like, look, if you want, like, a strong narrative, maybe not the most strongest narrative film or whatever this year, I think it's genius personally. I think we've had a year of great animated films and none of them by Disney. Um,
Well, okay, so
which
the thing is especially if you went to film school, you've probably been exposed to, like, new wave films, which have
oh, that's what this reminded me of was film school
yes,
stuff. Like, I'm like,
this had, like,
this
new
is like
wave to it
this
that
is like
was
French New Wave, like, is
yeah,
what this is.
where the plot isn't, like, the point. The plot is like a backburn, you know?
Yeah, the plot is secondary to both the theming, messaging, and art I just wanna get out.
The vibes.
The vibes I wanna get out, the feeling I wanna get out.
So that's our no spoiler, The Boy and the Heron review.
It's a spoiler, but no spoiler. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it.
Figure out who Robert Pattinson's playing because he does
You won't.
excellent. He does
You won't. You
excellent.
won't. I mean, you'll know who he is, but I think Batista freaking killed it.
Yeah,
Even though
I
it was
mean,
obvious who he was, but I'm like, he killed it.
you know it's Batista immediately. Um, I think the two that I did not expect at all was Christian Bale and Robert Pattinson. Once it was pointed out that it's Christian Bale, it's like, yeah, obviously that's Christian Bale. But Robert Pattinson does amazing.
Mark Hamill does a great job too.
He
Like,
does too, yeah.
like
Yeah,
that kid has like done nothing. Who does the main character?
and he did a great job, yeah.
He did a great job. He's like a new actor or new on the scene actor. It's like this is a movie you just got to see. It's kind of one of those like this is why you go to movies.
Yeah.
You're gonna see something you've never seen before, and you want to see this on a nice big screen, if you can.
Yeah, and don't look up a trailer. It's worth seeing
Yeah,
blind.
if
I
it,
saw it blind too.
honestly, I think seeing this blind is the best thing.
Yeah,
Honestly, like not knowing is it's so much better not knowing what you're getting into.
Yeah. And actually, that's true of any new wave film. So, because a trailer will give you expectations. Don't
Hmm.
don't get expectations. Just go see this. Um, there's gonna be tattoos. Definitely, like Mononoke had tattoos. There's gonna be tattoos.
Yeah,
Like
I don't know.
there's
I love this film. Not my favorite, maybe top three, but more like top four, top five
Yeah, I don't even
of
know how I
his.
would rank them.
But
Um,
not maybe not top three, but oh, so good.
yeah, a master in his prime.
Yeah, it's prime of 81.
He's gonna do another one. You know he's gonna do one more. He's gonna
Apparently,
die doing it.
apparently they were kind of like, "Are you done?" He's like, "No, I actually have. I have more ideas for movies now. I have like I have like two or three movies I actually want to make now." He's
He's
actually given up on ever like retiring. Apparently, he's like, "No, I'm just." I'm like, "No, of course he's going to be found dead at his workplace with a cigarette in his hand."
Yeah, his workplace is gonna burn down. He's gonna lose a bunch of stuff. It's gonna be like Kubrick's AI, where like he's gonna die holding a cigarette while working in the dead of night, and then it's all gonna burn down. And some like I don't know, major studios would be like, we're gonna recreate it from his storyboards out of love. Like,
And
watch.
it'll just never get come close
It'll
to
be
the whole.
that's gonna be the marketing though. Watch.
Yeah, I don't know. But I honestly though, that's kind of in the film too. Even
It is very on brand for the film. Yeah.
it's even
All
in
right.
this.
We'll catch you next time, guys.
All right, later, dudes.